tonight.
No Spreaker.
No Spreaker.
I didn't get the pre-show little jam session that we do.
No Spreaker tonight. No music tonight. No fluff. We're going to get it in black and white. It's Thursday night. And already, the weekend's not even here yet. Y'all know we're going to do the show Saturday night. We usually go on Thursdays and Saturdays. But already, things have started to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I normally, if I'm running late like this, and I'm running late actually, because of like I say, my son plays sports, so
that's honorable,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so
they can't eat your lunch for that, right?
Right? No, you can't totally get on me about that. And his coach does what he does, so
there's some other things
had us running late tonight, so I apologize. But this is Outlaw Radio. We are live on YouTube.
Yeah,
subscribe to the YouTube page. We are live on Facebook. Shout out to Brother Dante Chestnut Sr.
Shout out.
And DAMG Music ENT LLC.
Sir. All right.
Shout out to Brother Keith Terry down at 3041 North. 414-810-3131. Get involved.
Yes, sir.
But we'll give y'all about an hour and a half of this goodness. This is Outlaw Radio. This is what we do. Like I said, I'm the world-class smartass, and I got my co-host with me. What's poppin', man?
Brother, talk to teach, listen to learn, your truth transfer engineer. Never corrupted, often interrupted, here on Outlaw Radio. How y'all doing?
All right.
Thursday edition.
Let me make sure we got our screen correct. Let me know if y'all can see it, if everything is everything. So what's going on, man? Black and white. People want to know why I decided to call the show Black and White tonight.
Yeah.
I wanted to have a real in-depth conversation about black and white people in America.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about race relations, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I really want to talk about race relations. I'm gonna do this solid for y'all.
All right.
We'll take care of this like this. This is giving me the heebie-jeebies, right?
All right.
There we go.
You got it balanced a little. All right. Well, it's all right.
Okay.
And that's what's up. You got it.
No, this is what happened when I'm late, right?
Yeah, you know.
Hey,
there it is. Almost. He got it.
Right. By the time people tune in, we'll be okay.
Y'all was late too. Quit it.
Right. So welcome back to Outlaw Radio, man. I should say welcome myself back.
Hey.
I want to talk about race relations tonight. It's a real crazy time in America. And we know we got this president that has all these crazy divisive policies. He just beat getting indicted. No obstruction, no collusion is what he said.
That was a dog and pony show. They wasn't never going to do nothing to their own.
Right. No doubt.
He has the complexion for the protection, even if it is orange.
Right. So, but one of the biggest issues that we have in this country is black versus white. So I want to kind of examine race relations in our country. As a black person, more importantly, I want to talk with everybody else about why everything is black and white. How is it black and white? Why is it that some people consider themselves blacker than others? Why is it that white people, for the most part, dismiss any and everything a black person says? You said it was a dog and pony show.
Yeah.
I look at it pretty much the same. I think it's a dog and pony show as well.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't think they give us our just due on nothing. But then you have liberals who claim to love us, who claim to want to do the right thing. And we all know that that's a whole different show as well. So black and white tonight, in addition to some current events, I'll give you about an hour, man. Like I said, I was late. Please forgive me. I do the best that I can, but when you got kids, it's more often, it's more important. They're more important than,
Real talk.
And I wanted to snap, but I was like, I can't really do that to him, right? So I had to do my just due as a dad.
He still got to come back next week, right?
Yeah. Well, hopefully, hit like, hit share, hit follow. But the biggest news, I guess, is that all of a sudden, Minister Louis Farrakhan is banned from Facebook.
Yeah.
He's banned from Instagram. I say it all the time. I believe Farrakhan is our most important black leader at this point. I don't believe there's a black leader that's more relevant or more effective or more progressive than Farrakhan.
Right.
So, but he's banned all of a sudden from all social media. What you think about that?
I kind of think it's ridiculous, but
Okay.
but it's what they do, right? You know what I mean? They are,
Forgot about this.
hypocrites walking. You know what I'm saying? So they say, "Do as I say, not as I do." When you try to do like they do,
Right?
You get banned.
Well, they say he's anti-Semitic, right? For
he's
years.
He's an anti-Semitic racist, right?
Right. He's a racist, right?
So he's kept kids from going to certain schools. He's kept people from living in particular neighborhoods. He's responsible for gentrification and the wage disparity and the unemployment disparity, because that's racism. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's funny that you have a president right now that refused to even disavow himself from the KKK,
right?
And he's on Twitter going ham every day.
But
racist, xenophobic. I mean, this is a man who's building a wall to prevent people from entering our country, right?
But if you look up the definition of racist, right? I think that's a little bit closer to it.
Okay,
is he banned?
No, he's not at all. Well, and that's the hypocrisy in all of this is that Trump is, and he was cleared, and we know. Come on, man, the Mueller report was some doctored up bullshit. It was what they call redacted. It had all kinds of blanks and edit marks and crosses and circles and
anything that could have got him in trouble.
Right. Was omitted. Right. So
I mean, but again, why even tune into that? Like, did you really honestly think something was gonna happen to him? Nothing happened to Nixon. Nothing happened to Clinton. Well, he supposedly was impeached, but nobody knew it. Like, you know what I mean? So it's game.
So I say to you, and I say to everybody else out there as well, if they're going to ban Farrakhan, then what do we do? Now, I know a lot of us have platforms on these different social media networks, and like we do Facebook Live.
Right.
I phased out my Spreaker. We do YouTube.
Right.
We have Instagram as well.
Right.
So do we now start to boycott these platforms?
Yeah, we should. We that are us should. Okay. And I'll give you an alternative. There's a page that I found called Melanated People.
Right. And that's the one I was asking you about.
Yeah, actually. Yeah. It's called Melanated People, and to this point, they do everything Facebook does. They don't got the support and the money behind them. You know what I mean? No
Zuckerberg.
Right. So let's be realistic. You know what I mean?
Right.
But support that. Like, check it out. Yeah, you can share your posts and do all this, your photos and the whole nine.
But doesn't this actually go to show how dependent we are on social media in this country, right?
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, I mean, Facebook has turned. At first, it was kind of like a funny thing that the kids did, and it was like, well, a little social media bullshit or whatever.
Right.
But now it's turned into like it's almost, and it's on the internet. It's a derivative of the internet, but information is exchanged even faster when you add social media. Because John Singleton, when John Singleton had his rest in peace to John Singleton, who we cannot forget passed away this week.
Real talk.
Only 51 years old.
Right.
And I have to take this as well too, is we got to really start taking care of our health. I'm just as guilty as everybody because I live like I'm, but I'm saying rest in peace to him.
Yes.
But that news, like when Nipsey was murdered, it came down so fast. It was on, like, it was there before the news even had it.
Right.
So like Facebook has become important, man. Like,
yeah, but then we also seen Facebook get caught with their hand in the cookie jar a couple times doing some bullshit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And there's we all have, well, maybe not all of us, but some of us have shared some posts and wondered, why it wouldn't work right, or you tried to like something that was controversial and that like didn't, you know what I mean? Posts get disappear from Facebook if it's not according to their agenda. So they still let us know every now and then it's our shit.
Right. Well, there's always that reminder of, sit your ass down.
You just own it. Right. Yeah. We let you do that. You getting a little privilege.
Right. Calm down.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Don't get too excited
before we give you that moment.
And it seems like this is what it is. Now, Farrakhan wasn't the only one banned. Alex Jones.
Wait, why was Alex Jones banned?
Well, there's, they said that the messages that these individuals bring forth is dangerous.
Like such as?
Yeah, I don't know. No,
No, I mean, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to like you banned.
Right. No, I mean, I would say anytime you talk about somebody informing someone of something that perhaps maybe the masses didn't know, it is kind of dangerous.
Isn't that what the news is supposed to be doing?
It is. The news should do that.
Right. We don't, but should we ban the news? Or is it just the acceptable news?
I think it might be that.
Is it just the Associated Press news?
I think it might be that.
Oh, okay. So it's not the truth.
Right.
It's not a matter of how true it is. It's if it's approved by the Associated Press.
Well, it's like with Farrakhan, who's teaching black people, you know, how to really get themselves. And regardless of what anybody says, Farrakhan is one of the only leaders who has gone into our communities, these damaged, dark communities, and really stepped up and made a difference.
He is.
There's thousands of individuals who can say he got me off drugs, he got me employed. I'm now taking care of my family. You know, I'm now part of a community that looks out for me. I don't agree with everything that the Nation of Islam says, but I do support Farrakhan as a progressive leader of black people.
There are a whole lot of brothers though that have done that. You know what I'm saying? He is the only leader that has done that to that magnitude and is still alive. Right. We got a lot of brothers that went and tried to do a lot of what he's doing. And never really got to that level because somehow or another they disappear before then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they get discredited, right?
They get some soap.
Yeah. So, but Farrakhan is the only one to be able to do that with longevity and still do it to that on that level. You know what I mean? And still be alive. So to me, like back when we was in church, they would tell you, you know, you judge a tree by its fruits, right? You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
is that your preacher voice?
Yeah. So, but so he's still around, man. He's still doing the thing. You know,
right?
How bad they want to kill that brother, right? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that they haven't or haven't been able to,
right?
Or you know what I'm saying? It speaks to, you know, it gives him credibility, it gives him credence in my eyes,
right? So it's Outlaw Radio, man. Thursday night, black and white. I want to examine, and I know most of you have an opinion on this. Shout out to Melvin Clark and Dwayne Jones. Share the live. I know we're on late. We kind of threw this out of left field. It's not like as prepared it as I normally would like it, but I felt like there are some things that have to be said as we move into the weekend. Some stories that have to be discussed.
Yes, sir.
So I said, well, you know, we'll give them about an hour tonight, not waste too much time.
For sure.
But like when I talked about black and white, when you say to some people, you say, what is the most divisive issue in this country today? The answers will vary, right?
Okay.
But I think to a man, what you'll get is somebody's gonna say racism.
It'll be in the top 3,
right?
It should be in just about everybody's top 3.
Somebody's gonna say racism, right?
Absolutely.
So then we talk about, then what is the problem? What is the problem with white people and black people? Like, now understand, the way we came to this country is controversial. The way we came to this country was subjugated. We were exploited. We were downtrodden. And the way they sold us, the way they brought us to this country and kind of sold that narrative about us was, here are people who are less than us.
3/5 of a man.
Right. They're not as valued. They don't have a human value.
Beast of burden.
Right. So
don't have a soul.
Right. So when we look at we talk about racism being the definitive divisive factor. Now we know I could go all the way back to slavery. I could go to Jim Crow. I could go, but I mean I want to look at it right now. Now the historical part of it is important. So you don't want to brush over the fact that generations of white families have come and gone, and in each generation the black man was looked down upon and mistreated, kicked around, right? All the way up until where we are now, which is supposed to be enlightened times, right?
Okay.
So
they say we live in a day of information.
It's supposed to be the information age.
Right.
So what exactly is the problem with white people? Now I'm gonna start with you, and I got people in the chat room watching.
No,
start
with the chat room.
Well, we got to get them warmed up.
I got you.
I want people to let us know, what do you think the problem is? First, we're going to talk about the problem that we have with white people. Then we'll talk about some possible solutions to move it forward.
Solution-based radio.
Right. So when I say, I see you, Carl Pfeiffer. I see you, Dolly Whittington. I see a lot of people out there watching.
Shout them out.
Share the live, y'all. Let people know what we're doing. It's Outlaw Radio. It's black and white on a Thursday night.
Right.
We're just talking about race and the problem with race in this country, in America. So what do you think the biggest issue, but like when it comes down to white people and black people, why are race relations so horrible? Because I believe right now they probably at their worst since maybe the 50s, since maybe Jim Crowism.
I don't think they've ever gotten any better. I don't think they've ever changed. You asked the question, what is the problem with white and black people? And you did change it. The second time you asked what was the problem with white people. And I was going to address that because I was going to say, why would you ask what the problem is with black people? Black people, since we've been here, to my understanding and the best of my knowledge, have kissed their ass, obeyed their laws. You know what I'm saying? Even if you want to talk about what's the problem with black people have a problem with black people. Black people do what white people say.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I mean, the question is asked, who's to blame for the hate that hate made? I don't think black people have a problem.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think white people have a problem.
And what do you think their problem is with us?
It is a pure hatred.
Okay.
Like they want you to die in the worst. They want you to suffer. Like, here's the thing, but the worst thing about it is that we as a people, we so loving and trusting, right? I love everybody. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? We so loving and trusting when they come and they have their arms out and they say, oh, come here, we'll give you this. And we be like, okay. And we come. And then
why do you make us sound like that?
Because that's how we act, like as a people, not nobody individually, as a collectively.
Is that your cool voice?
Yes. Because as a people, we bow down, we curtsy, we do what they say. The toughest, rugged, thuggish nigga be like, I'll kill that nigga. Come on, white, he be like, yes, sir. I'm getting a job application, sir.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't think that black people necessarily have a white people. We've tried to do everything that we can to be with them and go according to their laws. We've accepted their religion. We've accepted their education, everything they give us. And we just take it and just keep on grinning and trying to keep progressing and succeeding in their society. So I don't think the problem is with black people. I know that was long-winded, but go ahead.
No, it's all good. We got time to do it. Like I was thinking, like if you're out there right now and you say, well, here they go again on Outlaw Radio talking and shit about racism and white people and all this. I'm not playing the fiddle on here, meaning I'm not singing, oh, woe is me. I'm not on here saying, oh, I can't do shit because white people won't let me and all this kind of thing. Mm. I'm saying to anybody who even may doubt or deny what I'm saying, you show me a problem in this country, or you show me something in this country that's not affected by race. Look at sports. We just had an NFL draft where a brother went first overall, but he was a running quarterback. Now you have a brother who, with white quarterbacks, are traditional, stand in the pocket and throw the ball, the gunslinger. But we had a brother who could do that too, who went to Ohio State, threw 50 touchdown passes at the top football program in the top league, in the top conference in this country. You had a white boy who went to Duke who didn't even have half that statistically. He went number 6 overall.
Complexion for the connection, brother.
So in sports, it rears its head. When it comes to money and earning potential, we know median income, specifically in Wisconsin, is half. The black median income is half of what the white median income is, meaning how much money is made total in your household.
There.
So here for black people, it's around $29,000. For white people, it's about $61,000.
Okay.
It's double what the average black household. And when we talk about wealth and we talk about academic achievement, any and everything,
right? It's always there.
So race is a part of everything. And no matter how liberal you are or how conservative you are, and you try to pull the wool over black people's eyes and say, oh, well, no, it's not about that. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You got to work hard in this country. And then you go about your day trying to do so. And it's barrier after barrier after barrier after barrier. Where you can, and you watch and you see in our criminal justice system.
But we know it. We make jokes about it in movies, right? Comedians get up and do satire about it like it's common knowledge.
Right.
But then you still have people be like, oh, no. Like, like you got the pink dude in the chat room. You know what I'm saying? Like, so,
right.
But
Scott Epperson.
But unfortunately, behind that, it's a group of niggas following behind, and because somebody says something with a British accent or something, it must be true. You know they shit.
Is that what it is? It's got to be a British accent.
Listen, if they want to say something with authority, they say something with a British accent, and you know what they say, right?
Look, I don't want to. I don't want to deal with generalizations, right? And that's one of them. That's the joke. You mad at the comedians, but that's the joke we make.
I mean, but the fact that they can sit and make jokes about it and it's funny means we all know it's happening.
Right.
The joke about the black dude dying in the scary movies, right?
It's so true.
It's
so true.
You know what I'm saying? So
before the credits is over, he's dead.
A lot of truth is said in jest.
Right? They ain't even introduced the monster yet. This brother's gone. Like it's like, damn, the movie ain't.
So that shit after a while, like it's not coincidence, right?
Well, okay, like I watch movies, right? And like I'm a comic book dude from way back,
right?
So I'm the Avengers and all of this. But I watch these hero movies and I watch these superpowers and I watch. If you didn't notice, there are way more superpowered white people than there are black people in these movies.
And then if it's a black, it's usually some sort of mutant, like, you know what I mean?
Well, he's just one.
He's
got
a
like,
butt head or something.
There's no all black superhero group like, well, we the Soul Force. You know what I mean? It's like they write these movies. I was joking. I was joking with my wife, like, well, you know, it's summertime coming, right? So it's about to be blockbuster time.
For real.
And these blockbusters, this is time for white people to save the world. Every movie, Bruce Willis, 170,000 years old. Right. They will make Die Hard 12 right now. Bruce Willis will be jumping out of airplanes and shit. He's like, it's like the narrative is nailed into your head over and over. To the point where we get excited when we see a black superhero, and he don't even be the strongest one.
And he got to have a white dude helping him, right? The white dude got to be on the side. Like, it wouldn't be possible without this.
I discovered you, boy. You wouldn't have them wings for me.
It's always the white dude that's there, you know, telling the black dude what to do. That's controlling the narrative.
Right. Okay. Yeah, but I just want people to see how much racism permeates everything. I know I got some brothers out there who say, but Kev, I don't even trip off racism because I get along with everybody. I love people. No doubt. No doubt. But I'm here to tell you, like I wanted to tell Obama so much when he kept saying, I'm everybody's president. I'm like, nah, bruh.
Everybody except us.
They don't like you. Like the people who you are trying so hard to appease don't like you.
But they his people, though.
That's what he kept saying.
Because he got a little hue in his skin. I keep telling you that they ain't us.
Right.
Chuck D said it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Every brother ain't a brother.
I want y'all to let me know out there in the chat room how y'all feel about this argument, how y'all deal with them on a daily basis. Because one thing about America, it's almost like you have to assimilate or go home. Like either you play this game or you don't. So you better get a job. You need somewhere to stay. The house need lights. Gas, water, whatever, even to the fact where, like in our community, our money, the black dollar stays in the black community like that long before it's gone out. I think it's something like 1% of the black dollar stays in the community. It's super low.
I read an article, man. A Jewish.
Oh, person, be careful now.
A Jewish person.
They be banning your ass off Facebook next. You say something about them damn Jews.
They already banned me off Facebook. So if you ain't know, but I
gotta watch who I'm hanging around.
There's a Jewish dude, and he says, you know, our people. He said you can have a Jewish liquor store, a bottle of wine that costs $50.
Right.
He said you can have a black liquor store, that bottle of wine can be $5. Another Jewish person is going to buy from that Jewish liquor store.
No matter what.
Because he knows that money is going to stay in his community. It's going to benefit him either way. Okay. And that's something that we have yet to be able to figure out.
So it's a question of solidarity. And that's
UNITY.
No doubt that we lack solidarity. I say that all the time. But I'm looking at what is the root of because somebody told me one time that it wasn't really about hatred, it was about envy.
Absolutely.
I've heard some black scholars say, you know, they envy us, so they want to make sure we stay down so we can never really fulfill our true potential.
They know something about us that we do not know.
I wonder what it is.
They know something about us that we do not know. And here's the thing, because we do live in a day of information, it won't take you 15 minutes to look it up. Now, it might be so outlandish, and it might make you seem like a conspiracy theorist, right?
That's what I'm saying. Be careful.
Be careful. But truth is truth.
Be careful with what you use, though. But don't go YouTubing first. Go to the books. Go to the library and get the books first. And I'm saying that because there's so many electronic influences, is what I call it.
You have a library in your pocket.
You won't know what the hell going on if you listen to every theory you hear online. It's like, what?
No, disseminate.
Like, where'd you get that shit from? It got to be true if it was on the internet, right?
Discernment.
Not really.
Yeah.
So
you use discernment.
It's Outlaw Radio. It's black and white. on Thursday night.
Yay.
I really want to have a serious adult conversation
All right.
about race relations in the country, in our country. I want y'all to let me know. I see you, Kenneth Williams. I see Fraser Robinson too. But no, tell me what y'all think, man, because there has to be, because if we never figure out what the actual issue is, we're never going to overcome this.
But the issue is them. The issue is hatred. This is if we have
hatred.
It's the hatred. It's
Okay.
the hatred they have. So let's just, who's in control of the textbooks, right?
Right.
So it's no secret. We know who writes the textbook, who's in charge of the dictionaries, the encyclopedias, and so on and so forth.
Right.
Who's also even in charge of what we call ourselves, right? Black people didn't decide, well, we want to be colored. Well, we want to be African Americans. No, we want to be black. Now, they give us these names. They hire coons.
Pick one.
Right. And so, but here's the thing. So just check this out. Why would you even want to call yourself black? And who decided to call you black? And who decided to call them white? Right.
I like the word. I like black.
But let's check it out. I like black. But let's go to the dictionary. Right. Let's check out the word white. Right.
Okay.
The color of pure snow. Reflecting all the rays of the sunlight, the color without hue, benevolent, without malicious intent, honorable, generous, rare, morally unblemished, extremely clean, very pure, honest, and moral. The racial sense of the characteristic of being called white actually didn't start until the 1600s. So that's when they started calling themselves white with all of these meanings behind it, right?
Okay.
So blacks got the name African Americans, colored, Negroes got the name blacks about the 1970s, right?
Okay.
So black, darkness caused by the absorption of light without reflection, absence of light, soiled or stained, gloomy, pessimistic, deliberately harmful or inexcusable, sullen, hostile, threatening, without any moral quality or goodness, wicked, evil, disgraced, or liability to punishment, marked by disaster or misfortune. I can go on and on.
Right.
So this is the name that we were given around the 1970s. Really, when you understand the word, why would you want to call yourself black? What kind of curse are you putting on yourself when you say that?
I'm gonna answer that question from my perspective.
Yes, sir.
Not necessarily whatever that I understand that perspective.
Just from the dictionary.
Right. The way it was broken down to me from, I would even just have to say from my mom, and she said, well, she identified with the word black over African American because number one, she said she didn't identify with her African culture. She said she had no trace of it. But she said it was important to remember that since we don't know our history, we are black people because it's dark, it's foggy behind us. We don't know what's back there because they tampered with our DNA, because they raided the slave quarters, because they did all of these different things to kind of mix it up and just break up the tribes and the families. She said she identified as black. She said she identified as black in the fact that she wasn't no longer overly emotional about the way we were treated. She wasn't emotional about it. She went about it like it was business. So when it came to, being warm and fuzzy, she said, no, I got a black heart because of the way I've been treated, because of the way my family has been treated. So there's that Webster definition, but then my definition, and I'm one of those brothers who say black people come from America. Africans come from Africa.
Where do Negroes come from?
That's a Spanish word. So I guess Spain.
It's really not. It's really not. But go ahead.
So I don't know. This is my personal thing.
It is, and I'm sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
So I say German people come from Germany. Chinese people come from China, originally in their origin. Well, if I'm black and I'm in Europe and I start to talk, they'll say he's not African, he's not Jamaican, he's American. He's a black American. This is how we are identified around the world globally. Black people come from America. Like, they don't call an African dude black. They call him African.
But when you are overseas in another country, they don't call you black either. They call you an American.
A black American.
No.
They make sure they make that notation.
No, they don't. We do that here. When you go overseas, they don't. They call you an American.
So Melvin Clark is saying, I think we keep saying them and us. We keep the barriers. He said we'll never combine into culture for them and us, into a culture for them and us. Yeah, well, I think you have to say them and us.
I don't want to combine into a country with them and us.
Well, I think you have to say them and us.
Well, because there's a them and there's an us. I mean,
I think they keep saying y'all and us.
No, African male and black,
those people,
black male,
those
south.
people. So now you don't like the term black. What?
No. Let me tell you, because just like, and I would never do anything to intentionally disrespect the wisdom that you receive from your mom.
Which you can't, and I wouldn't take it that way.
And so, but just like your mom told my grandfather told me words mean something, right? You know what I mean? They mean something. Like I asked my grandfather one time, can a mute person pray? Right? And you know what he told me? Yes. Because it's not about the words, it's about the vibration, it's about the energy that you give. You see what I'm saying? So when you talk about words and you talk about, they call it spelling because it's a spell, and words mean something, and you keep saying this, if you believe in the power of attraction and speaking things into existence, right?
Right.
Then you have to understand that when you put this curse on yourself and you keep saying this thing about, because everything that I said, I didn't even get finished, but everything that's described in the word black that is put there, that's been there, has eventually been what we've become as a people.
Right. Once again, I think it's totally personal how you identify yourself.
It's all perspective.
Your racial identity, like because
black's not a race though.
There are some people who believe they are. I believe a black man because I hear my brothers in the nation, the God body, say the black man is God. I hear them say that. And speaking of that, I hear my brother Farrakhan saying the black man. I hear a lot of intelligent, informed, empowered people of color say black men, black people.
As a description, not a race.
Well, I think so. I believe black indicates black people in America. To me, that is a race. Black now, maybe not in the book you got.
Well, no, even if they're given a description, right, they're gonna say he's a white male, right? They're not gonna say he's a German male, he's from Czechoslovakia, he's from Eastern Europe. He's a white male. That's his description.
And what do they say when it's
that's not his race?
What do they say?
Because when you ask him his race, he's gonna say I'm German. I'm from Ireland.
But if you talk to one of these Aryan dudes, they'll say I'm the white man. He say I represent the white race. But it's the white Aryan race.
But what you're talking about when you say an Aryan race, the real talk is. I'm gonna offend somebody. It's the dumbest, it's the lowest of the white people.
Right.
It's the poor, dumb, low white people that said, you know what? You're still above black people.
Who did you offend with that?
Dumb white people. Scott. That's who.
Right. Okay. Right. Once again, it's what I call cherry picking. Because if I say, well, black is not a race, What is our race then?
Well, see, that's the challenge because that's what's been
is our race?
That's what's been taken from you. So, right. So at least
it's black.
It's not black is the description.
Well, no, I'm saying my history in terms of what I know from who I am or where I come from, without me sending my DNA off to this bullshit because I don't believe in that shit either.
It don't take that.
Right. Mm-hmm. If I say, well, how do we identify what race are we? What race are we? Especially knowing that it's so much swirling around up in our blood. What are you?
Well, this is where I believe that the Black Israelites have a point, right? When you begin, because no matter what, you are the seed of your father, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you have an apple seed and you plant it in China, if you plant it in Japan, if you plant it in Australia, it's going to grow to be an apple. You are the seed of your father. Right. So this is where I believe that you can kind of trace yourself to the point. I think it's up to you to look and to put some energy and some effort into finding out who you are and what your race is. We say we live in a day of information. Well, let's be informed.
So to be objective about how things look, and this is what they do with us all the time. You look on the news today, you see this car accident, and you see these brothers and sisters fleeing the scene.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and they left a baby.
They left a 3-year-old child in the car.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Right.
Come on. I ain't got no excuse. I ain't got no excuse for that, man.
But I mean, when they say, well, what's the description?
They're gonna say what?
They're gonna say black, but then they're gonna say, well, what race is he?
They don't know because we don't know.
when you on the job application, race, BLK.
Yeah, but
black.
but that's they give
It says race.
right. So, but you know what? Because there's no tribe of Judah box.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? There's no box for that, right?
I'm not informed on the tribe. I'm not informed on that.
And that might be not be your issue. That might not be your tribe. But I think it's up to us to go and put some effort into finding out who we are.
Right.
Because that's one of the things they took from you. Black is not a race. Black is a description.
I would say it's my race. And you say it's just a description.
But you listen, you can look up the definition of the word. And when you look up the definition of the word, it really shouldn't be anything that you should be clamoring to call yourself.
But in our the way we use language in the first place, let's be honest, black people use words in a way that's derivative of the dictionary all the time anyway. But that dictionary is written by them as well. So
absolutely.
I can't really take that to heart either and say, well, now I'm gonna go.
Well, you have to take it to heart because their whole language. This is not your language.
No,
this is their shit.
It's theirs.
Yeah,
it's the Queen's English.
Right.
So
absolutely.
So I would say I don't give a shit what the dictionary says about the color black, because I believe we as a people have gained the right and the ability to rewrite it in our own terms. And it's like a lot of words that are in that dictionary, we utilize them differently.
And I think that that's a good intent. And I think that's a good intent. But I think the fact of the matter is like I said, is their language, and they understand it. And so when they teach you a word, they tell you it means one thing.
Right.
But they understand because it's their language, and because they're teaching it to you and telling you what they want you to know about it, they understand vibrations and the different things that it causes. Do you believe a name helps? Do you believe a person can be affected in their life by what their name is, what they are called?
Well, we know that to be true.
So absolutely. So they can tell you it means something and understand that the effect is going to be something different than what they told you.
I guess what I'm saying is, so many times, more often than not, I will quote a source or I'll talk about information that we have, and you will be the first one to tell me you believe that's what they told you.
I just said that. Yes,
right.
Sir.
So I'm looking at the definition of black, not your definition, the dictionary's definition.
Absolutely.
As the same way. Like that's what they say.
But that's what they told you.
But in my life, that's not what it means. And those are just words on the paper. The reality of what I know to be true and how this thing moves or vibrates, as you said, leads me to say that's some bullshit. So I reject that. Like Pac say, I reject.
If you was in church, you'd be like, I rebuke that.
Right.
But I tell you what, for your own study, this is what you do for your own study. Get 2 plants, right? Get 2 plants. You take one plant and separate them. And one plant, you get up and every morning you call that plant a nigga.
Right.
You black nigga. You know what I'm saying? You say that to that plant every morning. You black nigga.
Fuck the kids.
Listen, do that. And then on the other plant, you go, hey, you tell that plant, well, hey, you know what I'm saying? You're fair, right? You know what I'm saying? You're great. Are you? So listen,
even though,
listen, and then in 3 weeks, you tell me, is there a difference between the way this plant grows and the way this plant grows? And if there's no difference, then what you say is true. If there is, then what I say is true.
I would believe, since plants function off carbon monoxide, I would think that it's just more important to just talk to the plant. Like now, I'm no botanist. You know, I mean, I wouldn't think that if you cuss a plant out, the plant will grow angry.
It doesn't grow. It grows less.
I would have to see it.
Well, do it.
I've never done it, and nor do I have time really to be getting up talking. Let's be honest about that shit.
Yes, you do.
I'm not finna be.
Yes,
no,
you got time.
I'm not finna be getting up every morning.
You got some time.
Hey, little Petunia, you black ugly ass dandelion. I'm not finna do that shit.
Listen, but I'm just saying, if you want to know, if you don't believe the books, you don't believe the internet, you want to know for yourself, test the shit out.
There's some stuff I do believe because I choose to believe it, but there's some stuff that I accept because I choose to accept it. But when it comes to Webster's definition of black, I don't accept it because I don't look up at my skin, my black skin, my beautiful black skin as smudged or stained. I don't look at it like that. So my point in the whole thing is once again, we get into personal interpretation. But I do think it's important when you start to tell people that, then they buy into, that's why we have self-hate, because they say, oh man, that's what black means.
But maybe that is. But maybe, are you saying that it's absolutely not? Why we have self-hate? It sure can play into
but
that.
I think it's a lot of other reasons that we have self-hate.
No, not
other
solely,
than what the dictionary says.
including but not limited
I
to.
think that's just piling it on when you start to say, and because it's like bad guys wear black, right? And it's like, anything that's black represents something dark and ominous and dangerous.
Devil's food cake is chocolate. Angel's food cake is white.
So,
but again,
I would think
some things are cause and effect.
Did you see the Wauwatosa alderman? There's an alderman from Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, which is a suburb of Milwaukee. I'm saying that to my YouTube people because they may not know.
Right.
They don't know that Outlaw Radio represents the 414 in Milwaukee.
Used to be Brewtown.
Right. Well, whatever y'all call it. Most people outside of it say, is black people there?
Yeah.
Right. But
Laverne and
so he says there's no real need for inclusion in terms of programs because we are so popular in sports. This is his reason. Like, well, they have basketball.
Who says this?
This is a politician from Wauwatosa.
Don't vote for him.
Well, he's in Wauwatosa, so I don't think his name won't ever be on our ballot. Let me dig up his name. And when I seen it, I just had to stop and laugh because
here's the thing. You know what? When what he says will be true is when we own 50% of the teams, right?
He's an alderman.
Then
from
we'll
Wauwatosa.
have basketball, you pink devil.
He said, we got the Bucks, the NFL draft, Hamilton on the way. He said, well, why do we need a commission for inclusion?
Who owns all of that?
Well, I don't think nobody even thought to ask him that because he was in Wauwatosa.
For sure.
His name is Jason Kaufroth.
You would be named Jason.
And he said there's several ways minorities are celebrated. He said, look at the popularity of the Milwaukee Bucks. A new arena is full of people who are all cheering a team that's almost all African American,
owned by absolutely all white people.
And then he says,
in an arena.
And then there's the draft, which he described as a celebration of minority players.
It's a fucking slave. Like, we got one buck nigga right here. He can jump this high.
Right. But this is the mentality of white America,
so
man.
Let's stop trying to be with them. Like, why we still trying to be under their arm and shit? Like,
is that what it is?
Yeah, listen, Malcolm told us about the house and the field Negro long time ago.
Right.
If you associate yourself with them, we sick boss.
Right.
Yeah, y'all sick boss.
Right. I just thought it was hilarious. That because this more often than not is the way they look at it.
So
like,
who is this though? Who is the alderman?
Yeah, he's an alderman. Jason from Wauwatosa. Jason Colcroft.
What you think about the proposed excuse me, $15 an hour wage for the Congress? For Congress. So there was a march that went on in several cities.
Okay.
And in the particular city that I read about was kind of sponsored or started by some McDonald's employees. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so they were marching saying that Congress should make, the wage of $15 an hour. Because that's about the kind of the work they do.
Right.
We certainly know people that get paid less than that work a hell of a lot harder, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so their issue was that they can't live on that. Well, then how do you expect that the average American live on that? I mean, don't you think it's a little double standard and some hypocrisy going on there as well?
Is the question of how much Congress makes? That's the question of like?
Well, no. They specifically marched for them to make the minimum wage of $15 an hour, which they probably voted for to begin with.
Okay.
Right. And so I'm with that. Like I didn't see in this post, how do we join that fight? How do we get aboard there? I'm with that because we need to stop electing rich people to try to take care of poor people's problems.
I would agree with that.
You know what I mean?
I think it's backwards.
When the way things are is what's keeping them rich and keeping you poor to begin with. They're not gonna.
Well, that's like the most important question that's not really asked. Well, it's not asked enough, if you ask me, is what's keeping us poor? Like
rich people.
I attribute a lot of the problems that we have in our community as people of color. Mm-hmm. I attribute them to poverty because I believe anytime you take the poorest people and you put them in the same little bitty dot, little bitty area. Mice. Yeah, I think you asking for problems, right?
Absolutely.
Because then you start to really fight over the same crumbs.
Add some liquor stores in there.
Put
some guns in the community.
Sprinkle some crack on it.
Come on, sprinkle some crack. Hey.
But I think that's like poverty is one. I've always looked at poverty like the biggest. I believe poverty is a bigger problem than race relations. Because I believe poverty kind of makes race relations worse.
I was gonna say, I think it's one and the same. I think that poverty is one of the things that creates a lot of race relations because the poverty runs along racial lines.
Right. Normally it does. Normally,
absolutely.
Our communities are the ones that are the poorest.
Go in any city, in any state, and go to MLK Street.
It's usually the worst street in the damn city.
And if you think that is just coinky dink, motherfucker, you stupid.
Right. What's a coincidence and what's not?
No, stop. Come on, man.
I'm asking the people who are listening to the show. I already know what you believe to be a coincidence. I'd like to know what they think is a coincidence.
Yes, tell us what you think. You think it's all coincidental and it just kind of happened that way.
Well, I mean, of course, there's a system in place, but
well, if we know that, then it's nothing that's coincidence.
But not everything. I don't think like these people running across the street who leave a baby in the fucking car. A lot of the crime, a lot of the criminal acts that I see committed in our community, I will not blame a white man for.
Look up.
I will not
study, whether in your Bible, whatever you in, look up universal laws, right? You will find one of the universal laws that you can't get around, right? To be cause and effect. Okay. So listen, as long as we keep reacting to the cause, as long as the effect, as long as we keep trying, this is the effect, this is what happened, this is the state we're in. Right. We need to do this, we need to do that, and we never address the cause. It doesn't matter. It's like pouring water in a bucket with a hole in it. Until you patch up the hole,
and you're saying that
never fucking change.
But you're saying, or correct me if I'm wrong, what you're saying is
white
people are the cause.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Listen.
So then how do you suggest we address them to fix this problem?
We don't address them. We do our own thing.
Okay.
The integration thing didn't work. Look it up. Really, the integration didn't work. Separate but equal. When we were separate, even though our shit wasn't equal, we at least loved each other.
Allegedly.
When we pick cotton together. No, because the niggerish shit that you see, you didn't see 50 years ago.
Well, if you just referenced Malcolm referring to house niggas and field niggas, there was some hate, there was some niggerish acts, there was some betrayal. Everybody didn't love. Now, hold on. Even when we look back at the Talented 10th and W.E.B. Du Bois and
listen to what I said.
And them saying that we want to make sure that Black intellectuals never really come into contact or any kind of understanding.
And that was a house nigga selling out the field nigga.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right. But it's still a niggerish act. It's hate. It's still, let me tell you something. There's always been murder in the Black community, no matter where it was. You can go all the way back to the 40s, and I watched a documentary about the kingpins that came out of Detroit. Mm-hmm. The origination of these dudes who sell heroin in the community, even if you're looking at Bumpy Johnson and these people who we like to make into heroes in Harlem in the 30s and the 40s, there was heroin addicts. There were people, Black gangsters who fought each other. The Vice Lords and the GDs started in Chicago in the early 60s, mid 60s. There was always this, and those are the days where Black people like to look back so fondly and say, boy, them was good times. But there's not a time when in the Black community there wasn't this kind of, oh, damn, he died too young, or damn, he left his family, or damn, he beats his wife, or oh, they out there gangbanging. So I don't see a time throughout history in which our community was, don't get me wrong, their occurrences were less. I would say that. There were more men in the community. I believe that community was a little bit more solid. But what I'm saying is we still have some of the same problems right now that we had in 1945 in the Black community.
Well, first of all, you reference these things like they're new or they're specific or they're individual to the Black community. But I
thought we was talking about
no, wait. But everything that you said could also be said about the Italian community.
No doubt.
There were Italian gangs. Yeah. They fought each other. They killed each other. There were Chinese mafia.
That's true.
So every single
in
thing.
this instance, so I thought we were talking about the Black
I'm gonna make it back around. That's
why I said
so.
The Black
everything
community.
That you said about the Black community could also be said about the other communities as well.
That's right.
So then we start talking about in history, to the best of my knowledge, and in history, no, who taught you your history? The same motherfuckers that we talking about. We just got finished talking about hate, and who's to blame for the hate that hate made. So if you trust a motherfucker who hates you to teach you the truth, I mean, that's a special kind
a lot of the dysfunction that I'm, especially in Chicago, that I'm speaking of, comes from first-hand accounts of my father, who lived on the west side and the south side of Chicago in the 50s and the 60s. So that's not a case of a white man telling me that. This is my dad detailing to me, sitting in the window watching riots in the street, black people fighting each other, two families fighting each other.
Because that's where he lived. So he didn't get a chance
on a daily basis.
Right.
It's also my dad, who comes from Mississippi, who watched in the juke joints where he played the guitar, black people with razors cutting each other, fighting each other, getting drunk. Now, I'm talking specifically because I thought we were having a conversation about the black community.
We are.
But now, of course, it goes without saying. We know that the mob is Italian. We know. When you say mafia, that's Italian. That's their shit.
Well, what did you just say?
And there used to be Jewish gangsters too, and I'm sure there still are.
No, absolutely. So they can talk about we can talk about the Jewish on Jewish crime, right? But
I don't see what purpose it would serve on here, but we could.
Well, to make us have the understanding that black on black crime is nothing special. It's a term that they gave you to further degrade you, because there's a white on white crime, there's a Hmong on Hmong crime, and the numbers are all comparable to one another. So what we're talking about is not a black on black thing. What we're talking about is actually human behavior. I didn't reference this as black on black crime. No, you didn't. They do.
No, I'm just talking. Fuck them. I'm talking about us. I'm saying. My statement was in regards to the belief that, our community at one point a long time ago was solid and we didn't have the problems that we have now. I'm countering that to say we've always had the same problems in our community.
And I'm telling you that I think it's unfortunate that you are not old enough to remember when you can go to a barbecue party, a backyard party, a house party, and not have to worry about nobody shooting at you. That's unfortunate. If you don't remember that, if you don't remember when there was a such thing as black love and black is beautiful and all that.
Don't say that. Don't say black love.
Well, no, I'm saying
that's what you call it. What's the definition? Smeared, stained, spoiled.
What I'm talking about is I'm talking about people taking pride in themselves, whatever they called it. And so you can pick that apart. But if you're not old enough to remember that, that's an unfortunate for you. That don't mean it didn't happen.
There was once.
You just don't know it.
I even said at one point there was more solidarity.
That's my point.
But the same problems existed. Now,
to a much lesser degree.
Now, I'll tell you this. Have I ever gone to a house party where somebody didn't get killed? Fuck yeah.
All right, well.
Have I ever gone to a barbecue where somebody didn't get killed? You fucking right, I have.
No drama at all.
But there has been some where some people did get screwed off. Now,
something was wrong.
Once again, I reference not a history book. I reference my parents. I reference my mom telling me about that used to be this. That used to be a ballroom, but guess why it got closed down? Why? Because a girl got stabbed by another girl over a man. So they closed it. That used to be a bar. A dude caught his wife cheating one night. He came with a gun. So what I'm saying is we still had the same problems that we have now. The disappointing thing about Black America to me is that we haven't solved any of them. Like regardless of when it started or how many, it wasn't as many though. It wasn't as many. We still haven't solved them. Like I say, damn, when will we get a clue? Like when I watch this footage of them jump out that car and leave that 3-year-old a day, and other things that have happened in the city, like they are convicting a lot of the murderers that they've caught for murders in the city, over last year. Usually it takes you about a year to close those murders. And the source of a lot of these murders is just the dumbest shit that I can think of. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying, how much of this is on them and how much of this is on us? Because I think we have to take some responsibility. I think we have to have some accountability. I don't think we can move forward if we don't, because you get lost in the blame game. You get lost in the victimization. And, if anybody going to talk about being victimized, I think it's Black people. But I think for a lot of us, that has become like a crutch that we just will not get up off of. It's like, wait till you get to the top. You know what I'm saying? And then complain about the barrier. Don't complain about the barrier from the ground. Like, I'm not going to even try because
unless the barrier
stop
prevents you from getting to the top.
Unless it prevents you from getting up. Period. Like, you can't even
which is what it's all about. You
can't even take step one.
Yeah.
But I think in a lot of cases we can take some steps. Some of us choose not to. It's like saying, I'm not going out there. Why? Shit. It's dudes who look at a sports team and you say, well, why you didn't go out for the team? Shit, I ain't going out there and be looking. Why would you look like a fool? Because they're gonna lose anyways. It's like, so you rather not try it because you said they're gonna lose anyways than to go out there and give it a try. You never know. If you go try, you might succeed. I mean, you always say nothing ever happens until the first time it happens.
Is that wrong?
No, that's true. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
You can't win the game sitting on the bench.
But when I talk about a time that things were better for Black people, right? And which is a fact. Like you can look in statistical, whatever statistics you want to. There was a time that things were better for Black people.
When was that?
So here's the thing: there are multiple times, right?
Give me one.
I'll give you two. I'll give you before slavery, which is the history that they told you came from. They didn't tell you where you came from before you became a slave. They told you came from slavery. The other time was
they told us
the other time was
they told us that.
But we didn't both believe the same thing they said. So the other time was,
I'm sure you
the other time was even during slavery or after slavery, when again I reference a time where we did things together. We had separate but equal. Our shit was not equal, but it was our shit. We had hotels of our own. We had juke joints of our own. No, they wasn't big and lavish, but we entertained our own people. We ran our own neighborhoods. You can look at Harlem. You don't have to go back for that. But so your response to that is that's not relevant because everything wasn't perfect.
I didn't say it wasn't relevant.
Excuse me.
I didn't say it. You didn't give me a chance to respond yet.
Wait.
Shit.
So what I got from you was when I said that was your response was there was still crime. There was still murder.
Still issues.
There were but if you believe in your Bible, there was still murder when you talk about Cain and Abel. So that's not something that's a Black issue. That's a human being issue.
Okay. First, let's slow that bus down because it's a handicapped lady up that's waiting. First of all, I disagree that during those times it was better for us because that's when Jim Crowism and the institutionalized racism was at its most vicious.
So was the Black family.
And I would tell you this, and I hate to keep referencing them, but I have to. I think my mother and father would disagree with you when you tell her or my aunties, uncles that are still alive, even my grandmother who I spoke with in great detail, I think they would disagree when you said that those times were better times for Black people.
When I say better, let me clarify. Black families were strong.
Okay.
Black men were masculine.
Okay.
Black women were feminine.
Some of them.
Let me tell you.
Little Richard came from the 40s.
He wasn't a Black man either.
You done took Little Richard.
Woo!
Look, I got a shocker for Black people.
I'm talking general. I
got a shocker for Black people. Gay Black people have always existed. I know we like to think they didn't come till the 90s. But listen,
no, they came out the closet in the 90s. We didn't say they just came in the 90s. But the point is the black family was stronger. Black pride was what it was. You know what I'm saying? We had certain morals. I mean, even at that time, there was a certain time where you wouldn't walk past a church smoking a cigarette. So things were different. You can't deny that. And yeah, people still robbed. People still
I think
killed.
there was more morality in the community.
Which is my point.
Because those old folks believed in that Bible so much, which is a great segue into what I want to talk about next.
Yes.
Because they are discussing now openly the slave Bible. There was the recovery. Well, no, there was the recovery of a Bible that actually belonged to a slave.
It's probably not too much different.
It's archived in the hotel. No, it is. It's drastically.
Is it?
Yeah, it's so tilted towards pacifism. It's so slanted towards encouraging you to really play your position and
to honor your master
that kind of stuff.
It tells how the master could have certain. So if you kill your slave while you're punishing them, it's okay. I mean, it's a lot of scripture.
So that discussion when we talk about the morality that used to be around,
yes, sir,
has a lot to do with that Bible that a lot of people go against so much because all of us grew up going to church. In my generation, on Sunday, most of us was at church. So that morality, that code of morals was there. Those old people were still in control, which did lend itself to a community that was a little bit safer. Look, I'd be stupid to say that the levels of crime now were the same back then. And I'm not saying that at all.
That was my only point.
So what I'm saying is, but we still have the same. See, if you had the same issue for 50 years, it's not going to get better. So if it was drug abuse and violence in the community was a problem then, it's still a problem now because we didn't fix it then.
Same system.
So with all that love that we had in the community and all that strength with an F for the family, we didn't use that
same system
to combat the ills.
Same government.
So when you break up the family, finally when you realize, wait a minute. If I get a woman some money and say, you can't have that man in your house if you want to get this money,
and then get him out of there.
And then I also I take away the jobs in the community,
and
the black people fall for the okie doke, the black men, and we all get locked up. Boom, there goes the family structure. Down comes the community.
Right.
But the whole time I look up and I see him like this because
who is him?
I see the powers that be.
Yes, sir.
Like this, because what he's saying is, I am going to gentrify the shit out of these people. Now, Milwaukee is a perfect example right now. I was talking to my homie, Big Mike, and Big Mike was saying, man, you really got to look at what's going on in Milwaukee. They are turning that city around because of Giannis. And I said, nah, man, it ain't got nothing to do with Giannis. He said, no, that's what they selling to the people. He said, look at downtown. They feel like they got a bona fide superstar.
And he's black. Right,
he's African.
Right.
By way of Greece, right? And even he says, "I want to get more into my Nigerian heritage."
Shh, better not talk like that,
right? Well,
we're gonna trade you to Chicago.
Well, just keep scoring 30 a night, and you can
say what the fuck you want.
Right?
Real talk.
But I'm saying, you look at Milwaukee, and now today, $40 million has been cleared so that the trolley can now go through Bronzeville, right? Bear said, yeah, we did it. The alderman said, see, we told y'all when y'all didn't want this trolley. Now the trolley's going to go through Bronzeville.
Woo! How's that going to change your life?
Mine personally? I don't live anywhere close to
anybody that you know.
I live so far away.
Anyone that you know in the entire city, how's it going to change their life?
Unless they get a job driving the trolley?
And they probably won't, because those are probably doled out to the pink people's nephews, and you know what I'm saying, so on and so forth. Like they got the crane and all of the different construction contracts doled out already.
Somebody made a point though about that. They said, well, that trolley ain't really. It's not about them expanding it for people in Bronzeville. It's about when they finally gentrify. The people who come and take over the community
won't be there.
Now they can just hop on the trolley and go down to work. So
I understand. Like they planning listen, the one thing you can't call them people is dumb.
Right.
They're not dumb.
Right.
I'm
watching, and people, look, I can show it to you. Look how happy they are.
No,
and those are black people.
No.
But that's black. Well, that's black.
By definition of the word.
And they did it from G's Clippers. That's where they announced it at. And black people, the black leaders said, yes, we did it. And I'm like, you did what? What did you do? We found $40 million. Now, in the coincidence of this is, I put up the shows with Robert Miranda talking about the water.
Where was the $40 million for the clean water? Where was the $40 million to keep some schools open? Cool.
I'm saying you sat back and watched Mayor Barrett do this, and as a black politician, you didn't say, bruh, you said we ain't had no bread though, right? You said, whoa. If I'm an alderman, I'm saying, whoa, time out, man, time out. Hold on. Have you been in most of Bronzeville? For the most part, it's still a very underserved, what they call it a victimized, oppressed community. So you found $40 million, and your best thought is, you know what I'm gonna use this for? I'm gonna let the trolley go through there now. I mean,
fuck the water, fuck the schools, fuck the education, all of the shit that you are constantly and consistently the worst in the nation on, right? Fuck the prison reform, fuck 53206, right? None of that shit, right? Even though the world knows, right? they're making movies and documentaries. We all know this shit is a sham. But here's the thing. I don't blame white people because that's what they do, right? Black people, when's the last time you questioned somebody where your tax money was going to? You know what I'm saying? What they're using your shit for? Because white people ask, right? They're at the meetings, right? They want to see. So it's at some point or another, it's not their fault.
If you want to go and see any of the articles that I referenced tonight, go into the People's News Network. All that stuff is there. Yes. If you're not a member, sign up for it. Check out our YouTube page. I'm gonna be easy on y'all tonight. We're gonna get out of here, but Saturday night we will have time to really put our feet down in the mud and really grind deeper and deeper. But my discussion about black and white is just because I think as a black man, you got to figure something out. You can't. What do they say? You study long, you study wrong. So if you sit there trying to figure it out too long without moving, you lose anyways. I think people of color really need to come like to some sort of definitive truth. Too often this argument starts over here and it ends up over here and nothing in the middle is addressed. And there's so many opinions and so many people can tell you what you should be doing. And how you should feel, and don't trust this, and don't read that, read this, and
read it all.
Don't
question
listen
everything.
To that. Don't follow him. And I say, you know, a little ain't enough, and a lot is too much. So that's my main thing, and I'm gonna stay in the middle, straight down the middle, and I promise myself I will never overcompensate again for certain situations, and I won't, because I think the understanding of a situation is what it takes to get some understanding of it. And I'll say that again. The understanding is what you need to understand it. Meaning I need to know the things that go on behind the closed doors. I need to understand who these gatekeepers are downtown that allow this kind of stuff to happen. I need to understand why we're so backed into a corner as people that we just won't come out. Like we've painted ourselves into a corner. I'm hard on Black America because I love being Black and I love Black people. But I think you got to be hard on people and things that you love. You got to be honest with it. I'm hard on us because somebody has to be hard on us. I see these kids now fighting in these schools, which is also a big argument right now. They are still beating the shit out of each other at the Conservatory of Learning. I seen on yesterday on the news, one of the little girls hit one of the security guards, knocked his ass down the stairs. Right?
If my kid was going there, I would keep her home from school. You can't. I'm not even doing it. I'm not even doing it. Listen, stop it. For real, like stop. Don't send your kids into that kind of danger. What are you doing?
That's horrible.
Stop.
But now the question and the argument is, who do we hold just the school accountable? Some people say, which I agree with, I think we should be holding these families accountable for what their kids doing.
Right.
Some people say, no, it ain't neither one of them. It's the system.
No, wait. Because it can be both, right? To be one of those, it's not an either or situation. Like we talked in one of the posts that you put in the People's News Network was about half the police and the firefighters in the city of Milwaukee live outside of Milwaukee, right? Yep. And we've been talking for the longest time, and I'm telling you that's a problem. And that's also a problem in the schools, and it's a problem with the teachers, it's a problem with the school district, right? So listen, I think that you have, in the same way that when you go into a community of homeowners versus a community of renters, you can instantly tell the difference. I think in the same way that's true when you have a community that is schooling, policing, and protecting their own community that they live in. It's a sense of ownership as opposed to coming out from a suburb, doing your job, locking up niggas, teaching the little black kids and then going back, getting your check and going back. There's a difference.
I definitely think it's an issue when Skippy Walker lifted the residency requirements. I've always thought that was an issue.
Listen.
Now,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
What I'm not going to say is that somebody can't do their job because they moved out of the community. Because I could be a police officer right now. I don't live in 53206.
You ain't white.
But I think I could police 53206 very well.
You ain't white.
Now, I could also go to the suburbs and become a police officer.
And you wouldn't be white there.
I wouldn't be white there either. I would, and I know that there's some white dudes who grew up years ago before the community really changed in the city, who lived in the city because they had to for a long time. So they got a real understanding of it. It was just when he lifted the residency requirements that they said, I'm out. So
because they couldn't wait to get out. They didn't want to be there anyway.
Exactly.
So you not white.
I'm juggling. That's something that me personally, I would have. And I've talked to police officers and I have police officer friends, some of which support the show. And I would love to have that conversation with them. Like, what do you think about that?
That's some questions.
And get their feedback. What I'm not going to do is jump down their back about it.
No, I wanted to respectfully and honorably ask you some questions.
And
absolutely.
As far as the teaching situation goes with them not living in the community, I will say this. One of the most important relationships that I was able to establish with an educator throughout my formative years was with a white man who wasn't from our community. And I'm talking about my high school football coach. Mm-hmm. He was not from the community. He was not hood at all, mm-hmm. nor did he try to be. Mm-hmm. But he did say, hey, man, but you know what? On the outside looking in, I see some bad shit in that community. And I don't want you to fall victim to it. So listen, let me help you. I'm not trying to manipulate you or control you. Let me help you. And he helped me by showing me that I did have some talent that I could overcome if I put my mind to it. And that was a white man who was not from the hood. So my point is, I'm not ready to just call all balls to the walls on, if you don't live in my community, you can't teach in it. Because the discussion that we had really is, then what happens to the schools in 53206? Because listen, I'm gonna guarantee you what the stat that they should have put up is 50% or better of the teachers who teach in MPS, kids don't go to MPS.
I mean, that's just.
I think if your kids
that's a derivative of the same thing I'm saying.
It's like you working at a restaurant saying, "Man, I don't eat this nasty shit." That's all I'm saying.
That's exactly what it is.
So it's always deeper conversations to be had.
But we started out, and one of the first things we said in the show was, I said that, you said, what's the problem with black people and white people? And I started out saying the problem ain't with black people.
You said it's with white people.
The problem was with white people. So when you start comparing yourself and you putting yourself in that white cop's position, you're not a white cop. You don't have the hatred for white people that the white cop has for black people. We've seen that the KKK have infiltrated law enforcement. Is that true?
Like a son of a bitch.
So we're talking about hatred that you don't have. You're not them. They're not you. You can't do that.
But
infiltrated.
Check this out. So my I said we were going to talk about
I get them off track.
No, I said we were going to talk about what we thought the solution should be.
Yes.
Shout out to my OG Joey Phillips. He said that's so true. What you was talking about.
Yes.
But my solution is solidarity. Like, I think that we should, what happens when somebody stands up for the black community or people of color, he or she is oftentimes alienated. And then they create this kind of, like with Farrakhan, they've made him the world's greatest anti-Semite.
Right.
And he's anti this, he's anti that.
But what did he say that was wrong?
Well, if you listen to Farrakhan's message, a lot of it's based on love and a lot of it's based on self-respect. He talks about protecting women. He talks to black people about empowering themselves, mm-hmm. and economic freedom and education and stuff like that.
Come on, man.
So I don't subscribe to their theory about Farrakhan or any other black leader. I always tell white people, you don't get to tell me who I should be listening to.
Hello, somebody.
You don't get to pick my leaders for me. You can't come in and say, well, Kevin, he's not really.
They want you to listen to Steve Harvey.
What? And speaking of Steve having some issues.
Wait, so Steve getting a divorce?
We don't know.
Okay, so if he get a divorce, do every black woman that went and bought that bullshit ass coon humping ass book, right? Do you get your money back?
Did you say coon humping?
Humping ass nigga.
Wow. Listen, first of all, we don't know if he's getting a divorce.
No, it's if he does.
Allegedly, he has some issues in his marriage right now. I know he lost his distribution for his talk show, so the money. And he's lost some markets on his radio show.
Steve, no. So you taught Monique how to do it. How could you? Come on. What do you mean? Come on, Steve.
They said Steve dumped 4 of his properties in Texas. And it looks like he's liquidating right now.
Oh, Steve, no.
And there was allegedly some issues with his marriage in which I guess his wife went on this trip around the world.
Act like a man, think like a woman.
Well, it was just Christmas where she opened up the home and showed the home and said, "Look at how exquisite it is."
Her lawyers was like.
Right. And look, I'm not wishing nothing bad on no other black man.
Karma does it. I don't have to wish nothing.
I do want to say this though with Steve.
Bad energy.
Since
is bad
Steve was
energy.
one of the original Coon 5 that went through the door with Trump. That's my problem with Steve Harvey. My problem with Steve Harvey is the way he talked to Monique. And this was just a couple months ago.
Coon.
And he told her that integrity wasn't important. Money was.
Right.
So really, if that's your belief, then I can imagine how your marriage is.
Here's the thing.
So then there's no need for integrity even within my marriage.
When they take your money, at least you would still have some integrity. Now you don't have either, motherfucker.
They'll put together Kings of Comedy too.
Boo.
With
go away.
Steve can always get some money.
Fuck you, Steve. Fuck you.
Shout out to Steve Harvey, man.
Yeah.
I can still be on your show, Steve. This brother, I don't think so.
Listen, when he come on, they're gonna be like, "Why that dude ain't with you?"
Right. No, I'm gonna be like, who?
The motherfucker gonna be telling
the
the
one
truth.
With all the integrity that don't want to get paid. Look at me, Steve. No integrity.
When you get done, be like, "Dog, loan me some money."
No, give me. You be better served giving it to me than letting Marjorie get it. And they said she was with nothing but ballers. Before, so gotta take a shot at Steve. Let me tell you,
karma is a motherfucker. I don't wish nothing bad on nobody, but I understand how things work.
Right, Steve, be careful, man.
Bad energy comes back to you, bruh.
Act like a man, think like a lawyer, Steve. Saturday night, I got a big show for y'all. I'm gonna try to do something for my neighborhood. I've talked to some of the big homies from my neighborhood. I'm trying to get them on. I'm hoping
he got all the Bobolink people on deck. He can't wait to get them in here. They lined up. We're efforting them right now.
In the words of Ed Lover, goodbye, Seth. No, I'm trying to get some of the neighborhood people because they have a group and we want to get some sort of reunion and this kind of thing established, and maybe even a neighborhood association for the neighborhood I grew up in. I don't want to say their names. I'm gonna talk to the big homie tomorrow to see if he's still gonna be able to come in on Saturday night. And if he does, it's going to be a very interesting conversation because this brother's very interesting.
Absolutely.
So be looking out for that, and we will be on time Saturday night because I don't have any obligations
CPT
or commitments. I do want to say I did not utilize my Spreaker stream right now because Spreaker is down for me right now. We're going through a process where it required some altering, and you know, we got to figure it out.
We have some Instagram aspirations too.
We got some Instagram out there. We're gonna start leaning on that a little bit more. The YouTube love. We appreciate being able to tune in
Instagram
and check us out.
Gave us a lot of love. We owe it to them.
And we haven't appeared on there yet.
Yeah, so it's
and YouTube too. Like
YouTube, Facebook, social media.
Check us out, man.
Yeah.
Check us out. We represent Milwaukee, the 414. I always say, I'm not the only black man in Milwaukee, but I am a black man from Milwaukee. So we try to speak from that perspective.
We have no choice.
And it's really not about a revolution in which buildings get burned down. It's about a revolution of the mind.
Yes.
You really got to change the way you think about a situation, you know? And I think our approach has to be a little bit different than it's been in the past, because I keep saying we are we're suffering from some of the same issues that have always plagued us. And they wasn't as bad then, or it wasn't this or that, but it's still a lot of the same bad medicine. So we really got to figure that out, man. So I appreciate you if you tuned in.
Yes.
If you just joining in, it was a great show. You can go back and watch the stream.
Yeah.
You can still comment, and I will still stay up on it, and I will still respond. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, bro. What you got for them?
Man, I appreciate it, man. I had a good time, like always. You know what I'm saying? Love.
Right. And as usual, man, with Outlaw Radio, we try to put some paint where it ain't.
Mm-hmm.
And we try to make you think, man, try to make you focus a little bit. I just want everybody to know, man, more often than not, you get caught up in a quandary when you're going after things because you don't know which direction to go in. But I'm telling you right now, if you can't love the one you want, you got to love the one you with, right? Mm-hmm. So I will see y'all Saturday night.
Yes.
The homie said he love us. He said, keep up all the great work. We need the information for the city, man. I appreciate that, JoJo.
Yeah.
Shout out to EP too, man. You know how we do it. And JoJo, I know if I had a neighborhood on, you're going to be with us Saturday night. So YouTube, I'm signing off, man. Hit like, hit subscribe, share it, whatever. Do what you do.
Yeah.
Show us love. It's the 414's imprint. I know it's more to come now. I see a lot of people jumping on there now. But hey, man, great things are often imitated.
Rewind.
Right?
Yeah.
So, man, that's the end of our YouTube stream.
See you Saturday.
Yes.